I call this meeting to order. Roll call. I'll just do roll call, I guess. Yes, please. Diane here, Jesse Maurer,
Here.
Sharon Rowley. Absent. I don't believe she's on Zoom, is she?
No, ma'am.
Christopher Williams. He's here. TJ Kathy is absent. Bradley Malden.
Here.
Veronica Cordova, absent. Gary Knuckles. Absent. Johnny Montiel is here. Janelle Combs here. Antoinette is here. Javier Sanchez is absent. And Gavin
Yes, ma'am.
is here. Thank you. Okay. We do have a quorum. Yes. Okay, so our first item on the agenda is approval of minutes of April 10th, 2025. 2025. And if you will look at those and if there's any changes, updates, deletions, if you would let me know. We're looking at the approval of minutes, for those that just, and thank you.
So we still have some torque claims. Post torque.
No. Okay, and that is, see that? Yep, for page 3, page 3.
So
That's
that's like a break.
Okay, so what's the pleasure of the committee?
I have another question.
Okay,
Sorry, I do read the minutes.
okay,
So, under the traffic camera update, it says in August there were 13,796 violations a day. And then in February, there were 9,425 violations a day. Is that accurate information or?
Right, okay, so when it says violations, those are people who were not necessarily issued a violation, but those who exceeded the speed limit in total. So like we have the parameters set up to where if it's during a school zone, it's, and not to try to publicize so people go just under it, but we have the threshold.
You don't have to say it out loud.
Right. Yeah, so that's, so the total that it tracks is even 1 mile over the speed limit.
Okay.
So that's not where violations are issued out. So that was the number of people who went past those cameras exceeding the speed limit, even if it was 1 mile an hour.
wow,
Not necessarily how many violations were sent out, but total people who didn't comply.
And that's the total of all the cameras. How many do we have now?
Four, sir. There's 2 here and 2 on Globe, because each camera only gets one direction.
So that's all 4 cameras for a day has the 13,000 and then it went down to 9,000.
Yes, sir.
I find that shocking.
It's, yeah, I mean, a lot of them, it's back and forth traffic. It's crazy. So.
Okay.
okay.
Madam Chair, I would move to accept the minutes with the suggested changes related to the typos.
Very good. A motion to accept.
I say that.
Okay, a motion made to accept by Jesse Maurer.
No.
By Chief Molden. And second by Jesse Maurer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4, report and updates for public safety departments. Item number 1, emergency management, and Antoinette.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm just gonna go ahead and give the just the updates for the emergency management of what we've done last quarter. If you go to the next slide when you're ready, ma'am. Okay, we're just gonna be talking about the hazard mitigation project, was one of the big projects that we had last quarter. A couple of the other updates that we've had for last quarter and what we're gonna be doing next quarter. So for the hazard mitigation project, Chris, we did have a risk assessment of the hazard this quarter. What we did was we worked with the H2O partners. They have completed their final meetings and they created a draft. This draft has gone out. It was gone out for about 2 weeks for updates. It gave it to all the stakeholders. The stakeholders had an opportunity to suggest alterations on it. And she she got all she got the suggestions back, and now she's updating that. Once she updates that to the final draft, it could be released to the public. And the public will have an opportunity to also review it, and if they have any suggestions. But we are on track, and we expect to have it completed by the end of 2025. This is 3-year project, and we're getting near the end, so we're super excited to have that. You have anything to add to that one, Johnny?
No.
Okay. And with the last quarter, of course, we did have our, sorry, Chris. We did have our big visual event, of course, the tornado. We were lucky enough that didn't affect anyone really. It was a very polite tornado in between houses, and it was strange. It went straight towards the house and then veered away from it, went down the roads. It did very little damage, scared some cows, and that it had stopped right before it could injure anybody or anything. It was a low F1, and out in the county, we were able to set off our sirens. And because of that, we had a lot of questions with our mass notifications about how they go out. About a lot of people were wondering why they didn't receive hyper reach notifications. And so we did do a mass notification public education to explain how our sirens work, how our mass notifications work, that the hyper reach only affects you, it will only alert you if you're in the direct path of the tornado. But we did work with the National Weather Service, which will give you a much broader alert. That's how I got the alert. I wasn't in the path, but I did get the National Weather Service alert stating that there was a tornado, and we were able to track it, set off the sirens. So we're gonna be continuing that mass notification education coming up this next quarter. And we're gonna be trying to do a subscription drive as well, trying to get more people signed up for our hyper reach. Next slide. Next quarter, this is gonna be altered a little bit, but once again, we are gonna be doing a mass notification, public education, subscription drive, and a systems test. So a full systems test. We are going to sometime before during the next quarter, we're gonna do a test to every single subscriber on the list. So we're gonna just send out a text message, a voicemail, just quick one saying this is a test, making certain that people are aware that they're still active on the hyper reach. And we're gonna definitely set out notifications before we send out that test, so people are aware that this is coming, that it should be a surprise to them. And it'll be a pretty mild, just a phone call, no full city alerts or anything. Of course, we are gonna be preparing for winter. I know it's 95 degrees outside, and that's actually the best time to prepare for the upcoming weather. We have a chance to prepare for it properly. We're gonna be working with the Legacy Church for warming shelters. We have been working with them for the last couple of years for warming and cooling shelters, providing them some equipment to help with their overnight stays. And so maybe going back with them, making certain the equipment is up to date, if there's any damage, if they're replacing it. This equipment it actually is property of the Red Cross. And when they are aware that we're letting them use that, there's also going to be potentially a evacuation shelter. So we're pretty much just staging the cost there, and they're using it for the intended uses. We have been working with Eastern, with ENMU, with FEMA training classes. You guys are supporting the local training classes. The problem with these training classes is that a lot of them, the one we just completed today, it's a 3-day course. And for our first responders or people who need that in this area, they have to travel up to Santa Fe. And they say that New Mexico has local training, which they do, if you live in Santa Fe, if you live in Albuquerque. And it's very difficult for our local crews to be able to go up to Santa Fe for 3 days, possibly 4 days, if go the day before, complete a full week of training and then come down here. So Eastern has been trying to get that project down here. And I'll be working with Eastern, trying to do the next version. We did ICS 100, completed that today. And next month we're gonna be doing 300. Yeah, he was one of the graduates. Good job. She completed. Did a great job. And then next month we'll be doing 400, ICS 400. And so this is a project we definitely want to support. We want to make certain that people take advantage of this training courses, because we need this in this area. So that's going to be our big one. I do have ICS 402, which is an overview for elected officials. So once that one comes out, we are going to send out the alerts to everybody that we would encourage our elected officials to join that. It'll give you an opportunity to see what your role is in an actual event, so how you can give the information you want, how you can get information you want back, the proper ways to do it, the most efficient ways for you to work with the first responders. So we'll let you guys know when that comes down. Thank you. And that is it for emergency management. We'll go ahead and go next one with risk management. This is gonna be for our insurance, our public tort claims, our city insurance claims, and our workers' comp. Next slide, please. Public tort claims. So I did do this with, we have last year's claims, the 2024 and the 2025. Can we get to the next slide, please, Chris? Thank you, ma'am. So if you, obviously you see down at the chart that it ends in July because we don't have any, I just put just 2025. No, I didn't put the last year's to compare for the year before, which I've done in the past to make it a little bit less confusing. So 2024, we had a total of 20 claims. This year, right now, we have a total of 12 claims. And of course, we're about halfway through the year. We do have 4 of those claims were just straight up denied. They were just, they were denied by the claims. Our insurance company said they're just not something that we're responsible for. So we actually have only 8 claims that we had to pay out for. And these claims tend to be damage to fences for our dump trucks. We've had a few motor vehicle accidents. This is one of them. Luckily, nobody was injured, and we did process that one through the insurance company. And I think that one's still it'll in process, but it's going to be completed shortly. Next one is city insurance claims. Once again, next slide, please. Once again, we did have another motor vehicle accidents here. This is going to be the dump truck, the roll-off truck, thank you, that went and damaged went off the road near the peanut factory, hit a pole. Luckily, once again, nobody was severely injured. We had a minor workers' comp on this one, 2 minor workers' comp on this one, but it could have been much worse. We got very lucky on that one. Once again, we had, for the full of last year, we had 11 claims, and this year we've had the 8 claims, 5 additional claims. It says 4 here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not counting this one just recently, since I made the slide. This is actually 9 claims now, and 5 not filed.
Just a point of parliamentary inquiry, is the 4 or the 5 that are not filed, is that one that they've given notice and they never follow through with it?
No, we don't file, these ones not filed is gonna be under deductible, or $1,000 deductible. So, yeah, we've had some minor damage, but they were around $500. And the insurance company won't cover anything below 1,000, so we didn't fund those. Now we do have 2 more in process right now. Okay, next slide, please. Workers' comp. Now, once again, workers' comp, so last year we had a total of 20. Right here in the middle of the year, we have a total of 14, but 9 of them are non-injury. What I mean by that is we have been trying to encourage workers' comp on people who have exposures. They have a body fluid exposure. So we are doing a workers' comp based on that, just in case there's any complications, so we can do a follow-up. They're not straight up injuries, so that's why those are there. But this is, we started that last year as well. Now, I know that there might be a concern that might raise our insurance rates, but our insurance is based on a tier system. And the city of Portales, as a municipality, we're actually considered extremely low of risk on that tier system. And so we are well within the lowest risk of the tier system. So this is not going to raise our rates in general. Of course, our rate might raise just by the overall price of everything going up, but using this workers' comp in this way is not going to risk raising us any higher. So with that, yes, sir.
So then, like the non-injury, that's first notice of accident type notifications.
Those would be more exposures. We do have a
Okay.
few, yeah, we did have a weird one that it was a non-injury, but they were treated on scene, just checking their vitals. And although they didn't have an injury, that checking the vitals created a bill. So we sent that bill into insurance. And that's fine. With insurance, we explained to them exactly what was happening and they were okay with it, and they'll file that, no problem. But that does count towards one of our 14. So we're actually doing really good on workers' comp. If you look at it compared to last year, it looks bad, but honestly, it's much more preventative than reactive on this one. And the last slide is the end. Do you have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions or anything else they'd like to add?
No.
No. Very good. Thank you very, very much for that, Sue. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to, item number B, update on emergency fallout shelters in city in case of an emergency. Okay, we'll start with Chief, you want to start?
Well,
Kind of know what we're talking about, so,
I'm thinking that I know what we're talking about. So like when we've had several years ago, when we had the big grass fire out west of town, and we had a lot of people gathering here using the auditorium. I mean, we still have that available if we need to gather people in mass, or what that'll hold or allow us to have in there. So we have that. Other than that, I think a lot of that's gonna probably be emergency management preparation on a lot of that, I'm sure. But we have that available for when we do have major incidents, things like that, when we need to gather people. In fact, I purchased some. I'll just call it signage. So there's like the big tall flags and things like that. Some lights, vests, things like that, so we can have designated areas. So they're in bags. In fact, I have them. I can bring them in. Want to see them later, so we can equip that. So you'll have like your command center designation, big flag that you can put up, attach it to a vehicle with suction cups. So that if we have those situations, do that.
So we're talking about displacement of residents after a disaster. Okay, so we have to be super clear about this.
Okay.
So a lot of people get confused, and correct me if I'm wrong, during a say a tornado, we're wanting people to shelter in place unless you're in a mobile home. So you should have a plan prepared on what you're gonna do in case of a tornado. If you live in a mobile home, what are you gonna do? Do you have your go kit ready? Do you have everything ready for you, what you're gonna do? So if a tornado comes, and you live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, what's your plan? If you're in a structured home, of course, you want to go to the center of the room or to the smallest area, shelter in place, get some blankets, get some pillows, get something, have a plan on what you're gonna do during that event. If you're in your car, try to find a low spot, don't stay in your car, find a low spot, get down there and hold on to something, okay? So you have to have a plan in place, so if something does go south, you know what to do. And so we try to get information out there so where people know what they need to be doing during that event. So with that being said, during a tornado or anything like that, I can't speak for the city, but in the county, we don't have a shelter. People get confused with Roosevelt County's courthouse as being a fallout shelter, something like that, somewhere to go. But the thing is that we don't want you driving around during that type of event. Shelter down, go to your plan, and then once the event passes and we have people that are displaced, then we can open up, say, the fairgrounds or whatever location you guys have here or whatever is in place, then we will open up those for displaced individuals and we'll work through the event. And so again, there's some confusion on what type of sheltering we have. So right now, we're talking about sheltering post an event, post say a tornado or something, then we can find places for displaced people to go. Then we'll call, say, Red Cross. They have people that are vetted. They will come in and they will run the shelter while we're out there doing the recovery, working the recovery. And so.
okay, and I think that's what the question was. Chief Walden from the university, there was question that when we did have our tornado, people were out and about. And back in the day, a long time ago, they used to go to the hub and go down into the basement. Well, I don't know if it's allowed or if it was actually a shelter, but that's what happened. It was kind of congregate. So there was people going there. I know there were people going to the arena. So there was people like everywhere, just kind of confused as to, okay, where are the shelters? Are the churches, is there churches that have shelters? Is it city hall? Is it the county? So that's why it's like, okay, being proactive, that's why I asked to have this on the agenda, so we can kind of talk about that. And somehow, how we need to educate our public. Because that's definitely something that we want to do.
One of the discussions that came in, this ties into item C, but it's germane to this discussion is seeing if we couldn't host a forum for the community and maybe 2 to 3 different sessions that have our emergency managers, the fire chief, myself, the sheriff, Chief Williams, where individuals can ask questions about emergency management or public safety. I think one of the things that I'll speak for me, that I have a tendency to do a poor job of is explaining to the general public of why we do the things that we do. And it all ties into what you're discussing is education and awareness. There is some carryover from very, very antiquated models of emergency management that a lot of our citizens are still operating under. And the last thing that we want to see in the midst of a tornado is everybody to leave their residence when they are perfectly safe where they are, and they create a mass exodus to a facility, and they create more of a hazard there. The reality of it is too, is some of these structures that they're going to are not a shelter, they're a trap. The Greyhound Arena, for one, was not designed and it's not equipped to be a tornado shelter. It's got an open top design. It's basically walls. If something was to go through there, it would be catastrophic with the exception of very few places. It's not appropriately staffed for that. And those models where everybody loaded up in a vehicle and went to a tornado shelter, part of that is some of the carryover where people have passed on models from the old fallout from World War II. And the reality of those, even in today's a modern nuclear warhead hits one of those and all you've got is a false sense of confidence. You're probably not going to know that it's going to happen anyway, but that's still carryover. That's the last thing that we want. If with the exception, and that's been brought up, of modular homes and trailer houses, individuals need to follow our FEMA standards. And that's another thing that we can post is there's a link to a specific page on FEMA that talks about what to do in the case of a tornado.
Yes.
As opposed to leaving, with the exception of, like I said, trailer houses or modular homes where you get caught in the open. We don't want people leaving in mass. I don't know if that helps clarify it.
So I just handed, sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had some booklets for guides that we hand out during some type of event, or say we go to the Pinot Valley Festival, or we do some type of public forum or anything like that. We hand out these guides to people that want them. And one of them is, what do you do when, if you're in a flood? What do you do if you're in some type of disaster, a fire? And so those are just guides to help you set up your go kits or something to get better prepared for some type of event that we have in Roosevelt County or City Portales or at Eastern EMU.
And I think you were referring to ready.gov is the site that's ran by, I think it's ran by FEMA, that shows how to respond and how to prepare for emergencies for the general public. But we also do work with churches, local churches who have also agreed, and they are prepared to be evacuation response shelters. So it's not during the event, don't go there, but they have many of them have the capability of taking care of their own parishioners to take it off of the city and the county. Eastern is not a shelter, but you guys can take care of your own students, which is a huge burden that we can take off of ours. So there's a lot of groups in here that will take care of specific people. So there's a lot of groups that are already prepared and are already safe. They don't even realize that there's already plans in place for those particular.
So that's kind of after the fact.
Yes, during an event, shelter in place is really the best possible thing that you can do unless otherwise stated on emergency notifications. After the event, if there's displacement, we do have plans that we can put in effect that we have already worked with other agencies to get this set up.
And then also we're getting it out there on social media or even through HyperReach. Hey, we have, say, a severe weather coming up or something happening, start preparing for your plan. So if say it's a tornado, well, then they're gonna give out the watches or the warnings and stuff like that. So you need to start getting prepared. So you need to start activating your to-go plan or your plan on what you're gonna do. If we're a go, this is what we're doing. Okay, so it's all about, again, I'm all for the education. It's all about handing out those guides and getting that education out there where everybody is prepared, because it's all about being prepared. And so getting that information.
Okay, I think a lot of that has to do with each individual family. I know because this happened like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, was it like 4 or 5 in the afternoon? But there was people scattered everywhere. So for example, my daughter was at home and she had kids at the high school for practice, and then there was kids at the softball park for practice, so everybody was kind of scattered. So when the sirens came on, my daughter's kind of like, oh, great, what do I do? Do I go to get this child, you know what I'm saying? So they're out of the battle. Where to her family, they need to take the responsibility of saying, okay, in case something happens. But I think it's all about communication within the family. And I had talked about, I know when I worked at the schools, when we educate our kids, the students, and we hand these little guys a piece of paper, and we maybe somehow have something with the teachers, and maybe work with Miss Rowley, the superintendent, of saying, okay, we would like to do some kind of program for your teachers to pass this on to the students. The students come home and they tell their parents. So they're the parents actually will listen to the kids like, okay, mommy, we learned that in case something like with the fires or whatever, this is what we're supposed to do. So in case of emergency, if the sirens go off, and so we need to educate somehow the children from that level up, along with the parents, like when we have like the fair or peanut festival, and we can hand out these things, a lot of times the kids don't get them, the parents do. And as parents and adults, we have a tendency to say, oh, wow, this is really good information. I'll put it down and I'll look at it later. Well, a lot of times later doesn't come. Where if we get the kids and we start educating them and letting them know, I think, so somehow we need to come from all different directions and be proactive rather than reactive. Let's not wait. And I think this kind of took us by surprise. It's like, okay, wow, there it is. You said it was a very nice, friendly tornado.
Very photogenic tornado.
Yes.
It would stop and let you take a picture of it, and go about its business.
But there was a big concern. So what are we doing? And so then all of a sudden, of course, with social media, the whole question was, oh, great, if this was to happen again, because now that it's happened, where do we go? What do we do? How do we do this? So that's when it's like, okay, we all have within our little entities of what we do, but somehow we need to bring it all together.
It's a community-wide
Yeah.
project.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs to start. I think every individual, they have to realize that you're your own first responder. And you work from yourself up to your family, to your neighborhood, to your community. And you realize that your community, the municipality, the county is also working their way down. We need to all work together to make certain that everybody's safe. You can't just rely on one group to do it. And it is a community-wide education that we can get out.
Absolutely. Did you have something else?
No, I concur. I just wanted to, when it comes to education and awareness, it can't be a one-time, it's got to be a campaign. And I think that's been reiterated. I wanted to touch on that one issue that you had brought up about it being used. We had a couple of issues that ended up aggravating social media and some of the misinformation. One of the events that we had, a staff member actually let individuals in and it was unauthorized. That should have never took place. Another one, we had an individual that found an unlocked door and went in, and once they went in, we had several others that have gone on. But that has never been an established site. If we get people over there, obviously, and we're in the middle of an active event, we're not going to throw them out. We're not going to remove them. And so some of those historical issues that have come up where people were in there in bulk, it was one of those things where they're here. It is what it is. We'll live through it. And unfortunately, we didn't get the education and awareness out there that we needed to prevent it from coming up in the future, and we face the consequences for it. But here we are now going through and addressing it. And I think it's a prime opportunity to engage in education and awareness, as well as maybe hosting some of these forums and hitting it on different fronts.
That's really good. And I know with school is getting ready to start, they do their tornado.
Sure.
we always say practices,
Drill.
drills with all the students. So the students definitely know what to do if they're at school, which is really good. And that's what we are, I can think as the community is lacking because a lot of the parents, they don't know. So I think it's something definitely that we need to start and we need to put together.
What I'm with visiting and talking, I'm starting to hear the terminology EAP, emergency action plan. So even this last training I was at, that's all they can talk about was notify EMS, activate your EAP, your emergency action plan. And so with the schools, they're also pushing their action plan. I know Eastern pushes their action plan. I know Roosevelt County will push our EAP plan in the city of Portales. So it's good to hear those terminologies starting to come out where people know what an EAP is. And so now you start following, now you activate it, now you start going through it. And so that's a plus. As far as the now that we're working through our hazard mitigation plan and everything, we're getting pretty close. There's a couple of things that we're looking into getting, and one of them is to allocate a couple of, or a building, hopefully it'll go through and if that works through and everything works, then we may be able to have a temporary emergency shelter for displaced individuals. But again, we can't apply for that grant until we get to that point. So there are some plans in the works.
Is this something that, is this committee that wants to, do we want to put it together through this committee? Do we want to have this committee spearhead something like that, or one of the entities, or emergency management, or how do we?
I'm for both ways. The support of the committee would be outstanding, but if we need to host it through emergency management, that's awesome too. But me personally, I think I would like to have the support of the committee to have this forum.
Well, and I think with the committee, we do have community members, we have law enforcement, we have fire, we have the schools, we have the university. So I think all the entities within Portales would be included in that. So, and it would definitely be something that everybody would be, I think, interested in. So if it's possible, as emergency management could probably start kind of putting something together, let us know how this is going to work and what we need to do and how we need to start bringing it out and putting it out there. And you definitely, I think, to have support of that committee for sure. I'm not sure if everybody knows, I would like to welcome Mr. Minton, our new city manager. With you sitting there, Mr. Minton, I hate to put you on the spot, but do you kind of understand what we're looking at and thinking, and what are you thinking? What is your thoughts on this?
So in backwards order, I'm gonna reserve my thoughts for the time being. I'm kind of processing what everybody has to say. What I will tell you though is I have an extensive background in emergency management and ICS and NIMS training all the way through all the numbers on ICS and NIMS. And with those in my pocket, I've enacted those in real life scenarios to the point of earthquakes, pandemics, and massive fires where I had 16 airplanes on site, including jets dropping fire retardant. So I feel like I have a very good background in that. I'm perfectly willing and by design supposed to help on these types of things. But right now, I just want to process, hear what everybody's saying, and then I'll weigh in a little bit later as we kind of focus which direction we're going to go. What I would say is I think the question originally started with shelters post-fact in the event we're displaced, and we've kind of migrated into tornadoes and tornadic weather patterns. So I would just say we kind of need to focus. Are we focusing on the question that was asked or tornadoes? And kind of go from there. To the introduction. I am super glad to be here. Thank you so much. You'll see me in these types of meetings. I am the city manager and I will fulfill that role 100%. So on all the committees, working groups and so on that affect the city, I intend on being there. And I will weigh in when I have expert knowledge in those and I'll listen when I don't. So thanks for providing that opportunity.
Okay, so. Fallout shelters in the city in emergency, so we've kind of discussed that, and then Chief Malden, you added kind of what we needed to listen to as far as to the EMU Police Department, the EMU. Chief Williams, with information regarding basically after any kind of fallout shelter, not so much fallout shelter, but
Yeah, I mean. Our priority with the law enforcement, when we do have those events, is to make sure that services continue. Because just because we have a major event over here doesn't mean that everything else stops, so we have to keep that. And still try to provide additional assistance. So that fire crews, EMS can go do their stuff, so that. The different divisions of the city, you know, whether it's public works, water, all of those things can still keep going, so. Our task is more ensuring that everything keeps flowing. And as well as just maintaining the day-to-day public safety. You know, we tend to be the handyman for wherever we're needed, we kind of step in, fill a role, but. The main thing is the continuity of services, so.
good. Okay, does anyone else have anything they would like to add? Antoinette?
I just think that it's great that we have a lot of different agencies here, because that way when we do get this information out, we can have these, the guidance signs, we can all share the exact same information, so the community knows that. That, you know, well, Eastern is saying something different from the county, the county saying something from the city, so that way we can all have the same message. So there isn't any rumors around that maybe we're saying something different, so once we do get a message out, it'd be great with it.
So we're all working together, working towards the same goal, so definitely. that's-
And then we've got our school resource officer that can help be the funnel to help get all this stuff into the schools. He's got the contacts, he's there every day. So he can help deliver a lot of this stuff, facilitate the. However, the schools will allow us to do it.
And he goes to many other sources other than schools too, right? He goes to community centers and things like that.
Yes.
Okay.
He pops in at the chamber, at the city library. He goes to the senior centers. He's just,
Good point.
he's full of joy and happiness. And as he describes himself, he brings joy in juice boxes.
Team feel good. Joy and juice boxes.
I mean, that's the only other thing that I can think of is when we get multiple agencies or entities, whether it be the county, the state. The university is the routing. A lot of times when we have these events and we need post-event shelters. We get calls from different public officials. If it's not routed through Mr. Montiel, and that's the way the state has it set up, we're not reimbursed. And sometimes we've seen that in terms of a frustration where people are calling wanting resources and not trying to be avoidant, but like if we don't get it routed through the proper channels, we're not going to get reimbursed. In fact, you'll even see it at the state level. That's something I think public officials should be aware of, is that they want to see a process and they haven't worked through the channels. And so now they're calling state officials and they're getting hung up on, or they're not getting a response. And it's because they're not following that process for Roosevelt County to get those resources in terms of aid. Mr. Montiel, did you want to touch on that?
No, I'm, you know, with that being said, myself and Antoinette, we work well together, communicating not only with the state and state officials, their liaisons, the EOC up there, the state EOC, and talking to whoever we need to visit with about filling out our 213 RRs or 213s, you know, message to get that resource over here. But yes, we need to follow some type of chain of command to make sure that whenever it's all said and done, everybody gets reimbursed for whatever they need to get reimbursed for.
Okay, so we have a good discussion. So if you could do what you need to do, let us know what we need to do so we can start, if that would be okay with you.
Yeah, and yes, we'll get it started, myself and Antoinette. Again, we work well together. I'm all for preparedness. You know, it's good about getting that information out there, getting people prepared, getting the education out there. And that way people are residents of Roosevelt County, City of Portales and surrounding villages are comfortable and they know that we're ready to go if something was to happen.
Well,
And we are, we're ready to go.
Proactive with this, I think that's what I mean. So, okay, there's nothing else with that discussion. Okay, very good. Okay, so we're gonna move on to number 5, other business, any matter not known about or which could have not been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting of the agenda. We'll start with all our different people here on the panel. Mr. Mauer, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No,
Anything? Okay, Chief.
Madam Chair, I have nothing to add.
Okay. I think, okay, Chief Williams?
Just from the last one, we had the internet had brought up. We had the one vehicle involved in the crash. We're still waiting on it to get fixed at the body shop, so. And that's still there. I believe they've started working on it, which is a huge plus for us. But
Okay.
we'll get one back sometime soon.
And then, bring us up to date on the cameras. How are the cameras doing? Now, I know we've been on summer, now we're getting ready to start with school. Is there any kind of PSAs or any kind of reminders that go out? I know I hear them periodically, but I'm not sure who they come through. Reminder, school is getting ready to start.
We need to start pushing those out again.
Okay.
We've got, what is it, just about 2 weeks? To start back on the 7th. Yeah, so we got 2 weeks. Today, so I'll get working on pushing more of those out tomorrow. The cameras are having an impact. We have seen reductions in speeders in those areas. Since they've gone up, so that's plus, that's what you're supposed to do. So
Do we have, was there talks about other exams or getting other exams? I know we were gonna start at before.
I've got working on getting in front of the DOT commission. Their next meeting will be, I believe, September. Kind of partnering up with several other municipalities to try to go and get that authorization, DOT, to put them on the state highway. You know, we're looking at the one ways through town on 70, where we have all the complaints of speeders all the time, where we've had our fatal crashes. We've had 2 of them on 70 in the last several years. And then we have one at 18th and D. But after we did those studies, the other, so as well as one on each of the one ways through somewhere in town. I mean, anywhere, because it's all speeders, really bad there. And then we'd like to put another set on Avenue C, which is 206, kind of in that Brown school zone. Because that's the one, if you remember, we had people going through it in the 80s. And then Ms. Rudd had some suggestions to try to make some changes to that ordinance. So that we can funnel some of that funding that is coming in away from just the traffic projects and into the youth stuff. So she's got ideas to make some changes to that ordinance to allow us to use that funding for other than just traffic safety. Because we do have the other set of lights that have been asked for on order. We're here on Avenue, so that we can put one on each side, one facing each direction. But as our Ms. Cordova had requested it, so we got those ordered. That's getting paid for out of that funding. And then, like I said, Ms. Rudd had the suggestion that tweak it a little bit to where we can use that for our youth programs.
Great. Personnel update, please.
Oh, we're bouncing all over the place, so. We have one who's on the way out because of health issues. Not related to this work, but prior military stuff. We have one starting the academy in August. And then, of course, Captain Valdez is set to retire at the end of August as well. We've got one set to start on the 4th, which will go to investigations, give Sergeant Lorenz some help there. Other than that, we're just kind of still doing the recruitment game, doing everywhere we can. Officer Bissett got some guy to apply with us the other day after he interviewed with dispatch, so. So we got the recruitment up. According to Ms. Richards, what she emailed out earlier today, at the moment, we have 3 vacancies. But with those changes, we're still one of our applicants, but she's taking one of our people as well, so. So hopefully, I mean, we're doing a lot better than we have over the years. It's just a slow process to get people wanting to.
Good. And the new department's still working good.
Yes, so not public safety related, but the sports coordinators, since I volunteered to take that on. is set to start on the fourth, possibly sooner. Pending results in his current employer, things like that, but so we'll have that on, as soon as he gets on the ground, I'm gonna make him run to get these youth sports programs going. In fact, the one that we have selected to hire formerly worked for the city in a role with their under Jody when she was running. So should have great wealth of knowledge on how it ran in the past, so it shouldn't be full of surprises.
Who's gonna be under your department?
Yes, for now, so,
Very good, thank you, appreciate it.
yes.
Okay, Mr. Montiel, anything else?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Antoinette? No, okay, how about fire department?
As far as staffing goes, we have one open position. Just recently had somebody resign. So there's that. I don't have any other notes.
Okay, everything else, I'm good,
I think,
as far as you know.
as far as I know,
Okay,
I don't have, I wasn't sent with any notes, I was kind of here to,
okay.
if there's any
Okay,
questions.
very good, appreciate it. Okay, Mr. Mint, would you like to add anything to? Okay,
Having heard what we have to say, this is my first meeting with safety, and I appreciate that. I think that we're on the right track. Understanding that education is the foundation for emergency preparedness and getting that out. So I can certainly appreciate that. Going forward on staffing numbers, I'll talk to PD and Chief, I've kind of talked to you about that and how to report that. And I'll talk to TJ when he gets back in the thing. So we'll just kind of condense that a little bit with more applicable and operational information when asked about status. And so I appreciate your time. Glad to be here and look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing, just
Nothing.
just
Okay.
glad to be part of this board, so, or
Thank you.
getting to see this board for,
Appreciate
absolutely.
very much, both of you. Yes, Chris. Next meeting. Next meeting, okay, so we have been meeting.
Once a quarter, the next one would be November 20th, that's the week before Thanksgiving, or we could do it after Thanksgiving on December 4th. What would be the pleasure of the committee?
November what?
November 20th or December 4th?
I would prefer before Thanksgiving because after Thanksgiving, it's like Christmas's Day, or it's just so busy. It's just gonna be really crazy busy. Is November 20th good for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, let's do November the 20th, please. Thursday night at 5 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I'll send out a calendar item.
very good. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Okay, is there anything else? Hey, do nothing else? This meeting is done.